Hello and welcome back to Spectacular Sports. In this video, I'll be fixing the NCAA football conferences. Um, and also, I know not all teams will be in here. There's just so much teams that I can't have every single one in a conference, but let's get into it. So for the rules, there will be 12 teams per conference, and there will be 4 power conferences, so with like the better teams, and then 4 lower 4 conferences with the worst teams. And each conference will have 2 divisions. So the first conference we got is the Pacific for the Power Four. In the North, there's Washington, Oregon, Washington State, Oregon State, Boise State, and Cal. And in the South, there's USC, Utah, UCLA, Arizona State, and Stanford. So this, as you can see on the map, it's like a lot of the West teams because it's the Pacific, and the line. And I wanted to put Cal and Stanford in the same division, but uh, that would make Utah go in the North, and that'd just be a really stacked division. So I decided to make it kind of fair. But this is a great conference. So the Pacific Lower Four is basically the Mountain West, and the Pacific Power Four is basically the Pac-12. But for the Pacific Lower Four in the West Division, there's San Diego State, Fresno State, San Jose State, Hawaii, UNLV, and Nevada. So like all of the California, Nevada, and Hawaii teams. And in the East, there's Wyoming, Utah State, Colorado State, Air Force, New Mexico, and New Mexico State. So this is an interesting lower four conference. Uh, so the next conference is the Central Power Four, which has a lot of Big 12, some Big 10, and I think one Pac 12 team. In the North, there's Kansas State, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa State, and Iowa. And in the South, there's Texas, TCU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Colorado, and BYU. So this conference is mostly around the middle of the U.S., so the Central. And surprisingly, there's only 2 Texas teams. And the Central Lower Four is where all the Texas schools are. Texas A&M and Texas Tech barely didn't make the cutoff, so they're in the lower four. But in the lower four Central West, or the Central Lower Four West, there's Texas Tech, UTEP, Texas State, UTSA, Baylor, and North Texas. These divisions were really hard to make. And then in the East, there's Texas A&M, Tulsa, Houston, Rice, SMU, and then Arkansas State. Um, so yeah, that's the Central Lower Four conference. So the next conference is the Northeastern Power Four, which has a lot of Big Ten schools, uh, one independent, one ACC, and then 2 Big 12 teams. But for the West, there's Notre Dame, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan State, and Cincinnati. And then in the Northeastern East, which is a really stacked division, there's Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia. So that's the Northeastern Power Four. So the next conference is the Northeastern Lower Four, which has a lot of MAC teams, a couple Big Ten schools, and then some ACCs and independent. But for the Northeastern Lower Four West, there's Indiana, Northwestern, Purdue, Central Michigan, Miami, Ohio, and then Toledo. And then in the Northeastern Lower Four East, there's Syracuse, Boston College, University of Massachusetts, Rutgers, Ohio, and then Bowling Green. And then the last conferences are the Southeastern, where the Power Four has a lot of SEC schools and then some ACC teams. In the West, there's Alabama, Florida State, Florida, LSU, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. And then in the East, there's Georgia, Kentucky, Louisville, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Clemson. And the last conference is the Southeastern Lower Four. And in the North, there's mostly teams in Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, like Virginia, Virginia Tech, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, and Vanderbilt. And in the South, there's Auburn, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tulane, UCF, and Miami. So after all the all the games are wrapped up in the regular season, the Power Four conferences have a bracket like this. So the best team in the conference plays the fourth best team, and then the second and the third play each other. And it's just a 4-team bracket to find the winner of that Power Four conference. So for the lower four conferences, it's just that the top two teams play each other. So for example, in the Pacific lower four, it could be San Diego State versus San Jose State. So it doesn't matter the division; it just matters the two best records in the conference. So after the conference playoffs, there'll be a thing called the relegation week, where the winner of a lower four conference will play a team of the worst record in the Power Four conference on the road. So if the Power Four team wins, then they stay in the conference, and if a lower four champion wins, they switch conferences and divisions. So basically, how it works is, let's say San Diego State finishes first in the Pacific Lower Four and wins the championship for the Pacific Lower Four. Then they play, let's say, Stanford, who finishes with the worst record in the Pacific Power Four. Then San Diego State will go to Stanford. If Stanford wins, they stay. And if San Diego State, then they switch divisions and conferences. So that's how the relegation works. After the conference playoffs and the relegation games, the playoffs will start. So the top 25 teams, the top 25 teams will be decided, and then the top 8 teams will make the playoffs. And here's how the bracket goes to find the college football champions. So on the top is a map of all the Power Four schools, and on the bottom is all the lower four schools on a map. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got you thinking about, since college football conferences are crazy now, if they just started fresh and made new ones. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.